Welcome back to another Secrets of the Pros on behalf of the Department of Youth Services. I'm your mixing engineer, Andrew Rayburn, and we're going to be jumping straight into our mixing tutorial. We have some new artists coming up. We have Shanika Moore. We're going to be releasing out her version of her songs soon. And if I can find the artwork. But we'll get into we're gonna get into that. Let me show you the first one. Million Reasons is out on YouTube. But what we want to talk about today is EQ, compression, and auto-tune. So I have a track here from Felicia, and it's a cover from Lauren Daigle, Trust in You. And I'm going to show you about equalization, right? So the first thing is first. Whenever you're using auto-tune, here I'm using the Waves Real Tune. It works very well. It also retains the natural flow of the vocals. So if I wanted to song all T-Pain, well, in this song actually, I'm kind of overemphasizing on the auto-tune because it works. That was what I was going for. And let me play a little bit here.
Letting go of every single dream.
I wanted the track to somewhat like a trap beat kind of thing with a worship feel. So if I took down the note transition here and played back,
I lay each one down at
then I get the more natural voice. So let's get into the EQ. So first of all, I'm going to play a little bit of the track.
letting go of every single dream. I lay each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wondering never changes what you see. I've tried to win this war, I confess. My hands are weary, I need
There we have the pads coming in.
mighty warrior, king of the fight. No matter what I face, you're by my side. When you don't move the mountains, I need you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you.
Okay, we hear a little bit of the guitar was coming a little bit too rough, but we can balance it. But that's the reason why we have these tutorials, right? So let's get down to so we're talking about auto-tune. Musicians, you need to make sure you set your key. This key was in the key of A major, and it's in alto. And I have the speed dial down. That lets auto-tune give you that auto-tune effect. That's how fast it retunes the pitch actually, and the note transition is how much is the retuning affect the natural voice, like what I was doing earlier. So that's pretty straightforward. Know your key, and know how to set the auto tune. Right. So now also there's chromatic mode, which if you set it in that scale, auto tune is gonna automatically try to detect the key for it. But to me, it sounds better depending on the song when you pick the specific key. So let's move down to, as I was listening to the track, I'm noticing we're missing a little bit of that big body sound, that larger than life song. We're going to get into that as well. I have a track here from Tasha Cobbs. We're going to compare these tracks here.
My hands are weary. Mighty warrior. Prophesy over your life.
So we want to get the big song. So first of all, let's go straight into the vocals. So here is Felicia EQ. I have a Q10 and I have a pro cue on her voice. So I'm gonna play the
No
vocal.
matter
I'm gonna take off the effects right now.
what I face, you're by my side.
So I'm gonna show you what I'm removing with this EQ.
When you don't move the mountains, I need you to move. When you don't pop the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you.
So you're hearing what I'm removing with this EQ. Surgical, and I'm boosting some highs on this one here.
I will trust in you.
And getting a little more width with the doubler, so I'm gonna turn that on. A little reverb.
I will trust in you.
A little back plate, you know. That's a whole nother tutorial. I think I've shown you guys enough tutorial on reverbs and those things. So I'm gonna call on the main bus. This is what I normally do. I'm gonna drop a mid-side EQ on it. Let's use the BX Digital. I love the BX Digital on it, and I'm gonna crank it to about 140.
Truth is, you know what tomorrow.
Roughly, I'm gonna take out a little bit of 110. So it's like a little pre-mastering actually.
I see.
Take out a little bit of 300. Maybe a little bit of 500 here.
Nothing less.
Take out a little bit of 800 there. So there's a lot of reverb in the stereo information. Let's play it back.
I cry out to you.
Okay. Now, on your EQs, guys, check this out. The digital EQ have your low pass, or high pass. Actually, you can take out the low end on the mod you don't want, and you have the low pass. We can take out the highs. Now, in this case of Felicia, let's see how far we can drag the low pass.
I would trust in you.
So about 155 will do. And I think I heard some resonance there, so let's look for that.
I will trust in you.
Right about 4K. I'm dipping a little bit.
My strength and comfort. You are.
Now, let's say I wanted to use another EQ, a different EQ. Let's say I didn't want to go digital, right? And this is why it's good to use it here. So I can pick anyone. Let's try the SSL EQ. And let's bring this up. Now the EQ has similar controls. Filter in is the high pass here, and with this one I can't pick the slope. Normally you want to pick 12, and this is what affects, if you look here, affects the slope of how much you can cut away from the low end. I like 12, so you have a gentle slope here. So just about above 155 it starts to slopes down. It keeps the signal more natural. So let's see what flavor the SSL is going to give me. I'm going to turn on analog mode. I'm going to turn on the filter, and this has its own built-in slopes. I don't know if it's 12 or whatever, but I'm going to roll off and see which one sounds better on Felicia's vocals. I like the digital one already, but let's see what SSL is doing, right?
By my side. When you don't move the mountains, I need you to move. When you don't pop the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry.
Okay, now let's look. I'm hearing a little bass here. Let's see if I can remove that bass.
To you, I will trust in you.
So I'll take that out.
I will trust in you.
Let's check out the lower mid-range here.
No matter what I face, you're by my side. When you don't move the mountains, I need you to move. When you don't pop the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you.
Let's put a little top end on maybe about 8K.
I will trust in you.
Before,
I will trust in you.
after. Let me turn off the effects so it doesn't fool you, right?
Ooh. Truth is, you know what tomorrow brings.
Digital EQ.
There's not a day ahead you have not seen.
SSL.
So in all things will be my life and bread. I want what you want, Lord, and nothing less.
Digital EQ.
When you don't move the mountains, I need you to move.
What I've realized is what SSL EQ is doing, I'm rolling off about 166, which is a little bit more than the Pro EQ. I think the SSL, it sounds to me like SSL slope is a little bit more less than 12, probably about 6 dB once the sound, like, cause I'm rolling off about 166 and I'm still hearing more body in Felicia's voice. So that's a good thing. Let's bring in the 808 and the kick drum to see what that sounds like with him.
Letting go of every single dream, I lay each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wondering never changes what you see.
And guys, you might say, well, Ray, how do you know what frequency you're dialing? All I'm seeing here is knobs. If you look here at the 2 is actually 200 kilohertz up to 1K to 2.5. On the green knobs, the high mid filter, we have 300 kilohertz low mid range up to 1.5 to 5K. And on the pink side, high filter is 1.5K to 16. So we have about from here to here, and I have the mid range. So this is how you look on the frequency table on these SSL EQ, and you can understand how the EQ voice is, right? So I like what SSL is doing, so we're going to keep SSL for right now. We can try one more. As a matter of fact, that might take too much time, so let's work with that. Now, compression. I'm using 1176. This is the release time. On 1176, it's backwards, so you go towards this end, and it's gonna speed up the release time.
I've tried to win.
The attack time, the release time is actually how fast the compressor release. If I turn it wrong, it will slow down the
In
release.
this war, I confess, my hands are weary. I need your rest.
Notice it lets the voice kind of slips soft, like compresses it and pushes it back. But if I turn up the speed,
Mighty warrior, king of
it goes with the dynamics. Now if I turn up the attack,
the fight, no matter what I face, you're by my
it softens up the signal, right?
side. When you don't move the mountains, I need you to move.
I'm already compressing about 5 dB of Felicia's vocals, so that the slowest attack, which brings out the dynamics, and the fastest release is working on this side. Now, if I want, I could have used a digital compressor, something like the R. Let's try the R compressor, which we can manually set our ratio and threshold. This one doesn't have a threshold. It has a built-in threshold, you can say. So let's try the R compressor on Felicia's vocal.
When you don't pop the water,
Bring up the volume.
I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answer.
So I'm going to set the ratio to maybe about 2-to-1. Let's see. And I'm going to bring down the threshold.
Says I cry out to you. I will trust in you.
Let's adjust the release time.
I will trust in you. Truth is, you know what tomorrow brings. There's not a day ahead you have not seen. So in all things be my life and bread. I want what you want, Lord, and nothing less. When you don't move the mountains,
Let's go to 76.
you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through.
Digital compressor.
You don't give the answers as I cry out to you.
Now I'm compressing a little bit over 6 dB. Let's back off on the threshold a little bit.
I would trust, I would trust, I would trust in you. I would trust in you.
Now, as you can see, the difference between analog and digital compression, the 1176 actually adds a sense of EQ on it, retaining the natural flow of the voice. So that's like the second phase right there. So we're gonna move on down to one more technique we're gonna show, and this is all based on listening. If we listen to the track originally and compared it right with Tasha Cobbs, if I can bring it up real quick.
Letting go. Something I've never seen. Each one down at.
Most of you guys and girls mix might sound like this at this point because you're missing what is called the body and the whole flow of the mix, which can only be retained through parallel compression. So I'm gonna send the drum signal through a compressor with the EQ. I'm gonna bring up the volume. So I'm making a copy of the signal. I'm gonna slide it back in.
Your feet, every moment of my wondering.
So I have before,
Never
after.
changes what you see. I've tried to win this.
And on that chain, you can literally boost about 60 or 100 kilohertz, and that will give you that big low end
Before
rumble.
I confess, my hands are wet.
Now, if I compare that with Tasha Cobbs, you'll see the same weight is there.
Go dream. Prophesy over your life, say, I'm getting ready to see.
And there you have it, right? The before and after. So support DYS YouTube page. Our subscribers are growing. We're now at 397 subscribers. I almost hit 400. You know what happens every time we hit 100? We put out a full mixing video from start to finish with our youth artists. So email us, subscribe, send us your questions on guitars, whatever you're struggling with, and we'll be happy to answer. So we'll catch you guys on the next one.